viewers, a good afternoon to all of you, and welcome back to another episode of the Inter-University Debate. My name is Mukisa Sharon, and I'll be your host for this show. Today's topic points to the bloodlines of university politics, a case study of Makerere's guild president, James Churchill Ssentamu's viral photo with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. So the incident happened this month on 8th April, where a photo was taken of the guild president alongside His Excellency. And he explained, Churchill Ssentamu explained that this was during the launch of the week, Innovation and Research Week. So this was a launch of the week. These were his duties that he had to carry out, and he's representing a multitude of university students with different political ambitions, different political ideas. Though so many people have said otherwise, as the critics have come out and said they are calling him a sellout, they are calling him a betrayer, a buyout, and all other names there are possible. So the debate is still ongoing, and today we are going to be diving into the same topic with the panel with us. I'll start introducing from the corner. We have Aruho Brian, who is a fourth-year law student at Cavendish University. We are very happy to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and we have the lady on the panel, Jackline Tumusiime. We are so happy to have you. She is a law student at Makerere University as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and to my nearest, we have our panelist Mayanja Owen, who is also a law student, second year Makerere University. We are happy to have you.
I'm equally happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So as we dive into the topic, Churchill Ssentamu came out in a press conference and he said all that he was performing or all that he was doing were his political duties or his roles as the guild president. Amidst other videos going around, his father asking him to either step down or to apologize. And Churchill claims his father does not tantamount to being a guild presidential advisor. So with us today, our panel, we are going to dive into, let us first look a little bit at his background. So starting with Brian, I would like to ask, how has this background of him being related to these big names? I mean, Fred Nyanzi is the chief mobilizer of NUP, and we're having his uncle, Bobi Wine, the famous Bobi Wine, as the leader of the opposition party. So do you think in any way his family background may influence or can influence his decisions as the guild president of Makerere?
Thank you. I think we need to start it from the point of what a guild president does and what family politics does. It would be very wrong to say that the family background will influence. I think a person's idea, a person's thinking is what influences their actions. So yes, to a certain extent, you would say the family influences. Why? He comes from a very staunch, you would say staunch opposition backdrop. Yeah, being the National Unity Platform, he has the likes of His Excellency Robert Ssentamu Museveni. He has his own dad, Nyanzi, in the sport. That means it now cuts across. He has the likes of the First Lady, Babi Kyagulanyi. You see, that becomes the whole family tree. He has cousins who cut across, the Kampalas, all that. So you coming out and you have a photo with the president to begin with. To them, it's not just a betrayal. It's not just you betraying them. It cuts across. It's more or less, how would they say? It's more or less, to use a sexual interpretation of it, it's you sleeping in the same house and then you find that brother and sister have played sex together. You see, it's something way beyond forgiveness at that point, in their view. Okay. But to the general view, to us, you'd say, well, he's a guild president. He has his duties that he has to play. Yes, there is a family lining, but he has duties to play. I think in his view, being new in office, I think these are things he hadn't maybe looked at. Because you'd also look at it from his view that maybe if he had wanted not to be part of it, he wouldn't have attended to begin with. Because you know that the president is going to come. These are notices that are given you beforehand. It's not that the president is coming tomorrow, then it's announced that very day that, oh, look, in the next 30 minutes, the president is coming. No. Makerere University has been in Uganda for years. It's the oldest, it's the most prestigious in Africa. It's ranked. So these are universities that don't come out with short notices. Secondly, you're dealing with office of the president. So they have communications that come out early. That means Churchill knew that the president was going to come. You cannot have two bulls in the same house. So obviously there is the president of the country and then there is the guild president. He would have delegated that maybe, see, I come from such and such a lining. Let me delegate to the vice president. But then also there is the guild speaker. Let me delegate to the guild speaker or someone to step in had he known. Churchill being a guild president, so you look at it from those different angles. That yes, there is the conflicting family position, but then also him being guild president. So, but you see, I think why the father came out to react and all these things. Yes, whereas this is his son, he's supposed to give counsel, but also the father faulted because we know that these communications were given prior. Yes. This is not a university which has sprung out maybe in the winter season or maybe at the beginning of the year and started operating. And either way, universities have systems of communication. So before the president even coming, I think to both extents, yes, His Excellency Ssentamu would have delegated, but then also to another extent, the president wouldn't have come. He would have sent in maybe the vice president, Jessica Lupo. Then would Ssentamu, the question would be, would Mr. Nyanzi come out and backlash Churchill for having a picture with Jessica Lupo, or this is just because this is Mr. Museveni in the picture? He would look at it from that angle. So I'll leave the discussion with my comrades, but yeah, that is it really.
Thank you for sharing your perspective and picking up from the same discussion. I would like, Jackie, maybe you take us through, do you think he mentioned that, Brian mentioned that the president, Churchill, the guild president, should have delegated someone else, maybe the speaker, maybe the treasurer. There are so many people on that executive board of leadership in university. So do you think it would be proper for him to delegate because he knows the president is not coming?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll start right from his duties, and I'll talk about the guild constitution of Makerere University. When you look at Article 22, it lists or it states the duties that the guild president is supposed to do while in office. And the ultimate duty of the guild president is to represent the students of the university. That is his utmost duty. In different spaces, wherever he's lobbying, wherever he is representing other students. Now we look at this event. This is an event where students were showcasing their innovations, different inventions, innovations that have come up with. Okay, there are those. Then 2, many students were in attendance. Okay. 3, we had the guest of honor for the event was the visitor, the official visitor of the university, who is His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, who also doubles as the president of this country. So there is already a conflict here. Should he attend or shouldn't he attend? The question of shouldn't he attend because of his family background or conflicting loyalty, but then you have duty on the other hand. So which one supersedes which? Family background or your official duties at the moment? And who are you going to delegate to? When you look at administrative processes, or in my context, administrative law, under what circumstances do you delegate or should you delegate? Number 1, maybe when you're absent, when you're sick, when you are unable to perform your duties. Now, in this context of the event, was the president, Churchill, unable to conduct his duties? Was he sick? No. Was he out of the country? No. Was he out of Makerere? No, he was not. I believe that, of course, he received the communication earlier that the president was coming. I didn't find anything wrong with him. This is my initial opinion, with him attending the event and taking a picture. Okay, because it was his duty. He had to represent us, regardless of which political party, because we have very many students who are non-partisan, who belong to NRM, who belong to NOP, who belong to FDC, who belong to whichever political parties are there, okay? And these are students. The general umbrella is that they are students and you represent all of them. And your loyalty to your family, your partisan should not stop you from performing your official duties. So may I believe that following the administrative process where you're able to perform your duties, please perform them. And I think it would not have been right for him to delegate, although foot soldiers in courts may not want to know, you know, whether they don't want to know that. They want, you took a picture, oh my God, you're gone, you're a sellout and all that. But following administrative process, if you're in office, you should perform your duties and only delegate where you're unable to. And this case, unable to may not amount to personal interests and personal loyalty. No, when you're in office, you should perform your official functions and duties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Throwing an insight into administrative law and clearly explaining to us which circumstances needed to be available for him to delegate, and those circumstances were not available at the moment. What we are in is sort of a trap of family background and family conflicting loyalties, which is not provided for in the Makerere Constitution. So on the same, I would like to hear our panelists Owen's view on the same issue. Do you think he should have? Clearly, we have seen that these circumstances were not present at that time, but what is your personal opinion on that? Should he have delegated knowing that the president is going to be around, my family and the president do not go well together? This is the same government. The president heads this same government that previously arrested and kidnapped, I would like to say, kidnapped his father, Fred Nyanzi. And also the same atrocities have been going on in Uganda in general, and also the NUP foot soldiers or NUP followers have suffered the same. So what would be your opinion on that?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I definitely have a lot to say. But I think I'll first pull it up from where Jackline has left it. I think I sort of contradict a little bit with whatever she has shared. Personally, I think if Churchill didn't want to go for that event, administratively, he would have had a reason not to go for that meeting. He would have probably come up with something under the sun to make sure he doesn't attend that particular day. Okay. So I personally feel he wanted to attend. Yeah, he wanted to attend to start with. But maybe to discuss in line with that particular question, and this I always say, Uganda operates a very different kind of paradigm. And if you look at fashionable world, how democracy should be, I personally believe that even if you sort of don't align with somebody's beliefs, it is always good to work together, because at the end of the day, you intend to give people service. And this is going to guide my discussion moving forward. I see it into perspective, legally and morally. All right? Morally, maybe let me start with morally. Discussing family background. Churchill is not from any sort of opposition family. Churchill is from a family that at the heart of it has been affected by the Museveni regime. On several occasions, his uncle's lives have been targeted. All right, this is open in public domain. The meetup comes at a point where his dad is in America on allegations that he has been poisoned by this particular kind of regime. So morally, looking at it as in a moral perspective, I feel he puts himself in a compromising position, because the people you are sitting, probably dining with, are the people who are doing these things at the heart of your family. So it creates a sort of serious compromise morally, looking at it morally, because this is not just a mere opposition family. This is a family that is literally has lives targeted because of this regime. But then legally, like Jackline has said, Churchill is a guild president at the end of the day, and we need to remember that at the end of the day, Churchill remains a student. I feel student politics is not sort of the public civic kind of dimensions that people are trying to look at it. These are students who are being prepared for the world out there. So Churchill is still a student and is still accustomed to the rules that are in place. So legally, it would be sort of have a discussion that Churchill had no problem representing fellow students with the president of the country, who was the guest of honor at the time. Of course, the compromise still runs back to the family and how the family has been targeted, and him placing himself in that particular kind of direction. Yet he could have chosen not to participate in any sort of thing. So there are further discussions we can have with that, but personally I look at it in those two dimensions, legally and morally. I feel morally the compromise is quite huge, more than the legal aspect.
Okay, so you began by saying that if he wanted to, he would have not showed up, he would have come up with something. I would like to hear your view, Brian, on that. He would have come up with something in order to miss an official responsibility.
Yes, he would have come up with something. You see, the beauty is, I was once guild president, the 15th to be exact. But the whole thing of saying you're going to move by black and white, it's at a certain point it doesn't work out. I don't want us to sort of sacrifice Churchill and make him look like the bad person in this perspective. As I said, there are two angles to look at this. My strongest issue here is that universities give communications prior. You understand? Because if the president is involved in such a scenario, you're working with the office of the president, you're working with Makerere University. That means in Makerere, you're going to work with the administration, you're going to work with their whole public relations team. Communications are given prior. The guild office gets to know that on such and such a date, this person is in attendance, you see. So yes, you would say, oh, I come from a background that has A, B, C, and D running. My father has been inflicted, my uncles. You understand, there is that point of view that, as I said, morally, from looking at it just mubuntu, you're like, this is off. I don't need really to say, you know, it's as simple as me calling a guild meeting and I say, oh, by the way, I'm Mayanja. You know the background I come from. Please stand in for me. I can't come in. You give a communication prior. The university will get to know that, oh, the vice president shall be in the shoes. You understand? Or even if the vice president is not necessarily, you would say, oh, maybe the guild speaker, because you see that those are the people who can represent you at such a formal event. So you would say, maybe I cannot come because of A, B, C, and D, because we've seen that. But we've seen people play it. Has General Makerere ever been invited for an opposition thing and it turns up? No. Even when it's not necessarily opposition and it's sort of biased, you'll see him sending in representatives, Kano Makesi. You'll see him sending him in. I mean, that's the way the world works. You see, the beauty is that the democracy that we are trying to look at is still far-fetched. So let's work with what is on table until we reach at that angle. But then he also said, maybe to a certain angle, Mr. President Churchill wanted the moment. Because you're a student representative. Students voted for you. You campaigned, they bought your idea, they voted for you and trusted you. That means the university is fully behind you as per the students. Whether I'm NRM and I didn't vote for you, the fact that you saw in, you're my president. You ought to represent me. This is something regarding innovation. We've had the president over and over time stressing all sciences, all sciences, all sciences. If students have taken their time amidst academics and innovated something or tried to fight it, how do you want a good president not to attend? It just beats that. I mean, because me, the student, I'll feel cheated. Or the president of the country has come, but my own guild president is not there. Yes, I understand you have your issues. Let's not make it look like without me being in opposition doesn't mean that I cannot work with these guys. No. We can be of totally different political parties. But at a certain point, we need to be mature in how we think. These things of thinking in a childish way that because you're NUP, NRM, I cannot get married to your daughter or I cannot do business with you. Those things are very backward. They just don't make sense. Students want their president. You leave these things of President Museveni is coming. Students want their people. You get, because have you ever taken a photo with your guild president? It looks small, but you know when you post it on your status, people are like, hey, you met him. Yeah, he's my friend. I knew his status. Do you know what that means? In my year one, I had a photo with a guild president. I boasted about it because it was my DP. Not every fresh had a moment. So those small things, yeah. But I feel Churchill has been sacrificed too much. He's being made the demo and she said foot soldiers. But people need to understand, he's a student, yeah? And these things of party politics. And he didn't even come on the NUP ticket. Yeah. But let's not he's a student, guys, really. I feel for Churchill because, you know, they can use that card against him. Now they're going to have party structures in case he wants to contest. They'll say, this guy. But the question is, if I take a picture with someone, does that amount to me being a sellout? I would like to push it at that.
Okay, thank you for...
Maybe adding something small around the issue of vindicating Churchill. I think it's 2 days back, I'm not so sure, I think it is 2 days back, His Excellency, NUP Party President, Jackline Robert, was in church and he had a light moment with Mpunga. Now this is a person who has ardently, by the foot soldiers, been painted black. He has taken money, swindled things here and there. There are a lot of bad words moving from different parties. So me just juxtaposing what Jackline did with Mpunga, looking at it also in the side of, I don't know why Churchill makes a lot of fuss and everything, and yet these are people, yes, with divergent views. The same energy. Exactly, these are people with divergent views. These are people who have done things that go to the root of the principles that these people carry around, the NUP principles. So if the president can, in and of himself, innately accept to probably have a light moment with, then what is so wrong with Churchill having a picture with?
Okay, let's say the photos. Anyway. Let's say the photos are a problem. The Right Honourable Joel Senyonyi has couples of pictures with the Speaker of Parliament, with the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, with NRM officials. Ruhogonya, also on the Secretary General of NUP, appears on multiple talk shows with the likes of Major Awich, retired, of NRM. Dombo Emmanuel of NRM. Why don't you use the same energy? This thing of, I feel bad. My problem is Churchill is a young boy. He's our age mate. The years he has ahead of him are more than the years he has behind him. So when you sacrifice him now, you're killing. He may be a very good leader. You're killing, because NUP should have said, oh, maybe. Okay, I understand where they're coming from, but man, he's a young boy. Yes, correct him, tell him, yes, as a party, maybe ABC, and we feel pained by, you should have looked at it from constructive criticism.
Yes, please comment on the same.
I'd like to comment on the same. I believe that Churchill, at first, maybe this is my opinion, he didn't look at it in terms of, oh, this is going to be blown out of proportion, or they're going to think. I think he attended the event with a mindset of, oh, dear president, I'm not going to speak. Actually, he didn't even speak. So it's not going to be much of a big deal of what did he say. No, it's just, and there are times during an event where they say, student leaders come and take a picture. Now, it was that moment. Student, and he's the head. And you can't dodge. You can't dodge. You're the guild president.
The guild president come with your cabinet.
Of course, And then they put for each chairs. They even arrange who's going to sit where, who's going to sit where. And there's no way you could have dodged that picture. Now, the problem comes from the blood the blue blood in his veins. That's where the issue came from. That I think at some point he didn't think it would really, influence that much, or it would not really be blown out of proportion. But as he has said, he should have really looked at it in that angle of, okay, I have this whole family attachment and background and blue blood in my veins. It is still going to, bite me and all that. Yes, there is duty, but then this blue blood, I should be careful how I position myself, how I do things, which event should I attend and which event shouldn't I attend. However, I still think that as leaders, the Uganda that we want, or the leaders that we are grooming, we should not groom excuse leaders of, I'm supposed to do this, but then I can find ways of dodging and, duty. No. I think if we want the Uganda that we dream about, that we want to be in future, then we should have duty-oriented leaders. That your personal loyalties, compromises, your personal beliefs and all that may not really, they should not be up for discussion where duty is calling. That you should not say, okay, I have sick parents, I have what and what, but then this money is for maybe constructing a road. I have it in my hands. Can I first use it to do A, B, C, D, and F, and then I can bring it back? Or should I first, stuff like, I think that duty, the leaders we should have duty at their forefront. Of course, the moral issues then will come in, all that and all that, but then what kind of leaders are we having? Because anyone can say I'm sick and I stay in bed, or I can stay on TikTok chatting, or I can stay on Snapchat. That could be an excuse for me not to attend. But what is your mandate? You went into this office knowing what you're going to do, knowing the duties, knowing the mandate, knowing the responsibilities. So if you're really a true leader, then you should not have, excuses that, You know, you're meandering around all this and all that. He knew he was the son of Chairman Nyanzi as he was coming for this guild presidential thing. He knew. Two, he knew the duties of the guild president. When you take a duty up, you should be able to fulfill that duty from head to toe, from beginning to end. No compromises. But as I've said prior, food soldiers, tebagala kumanya. They don't want to know. Sorry to use the. They don't want to know whether you're what. No, the thing is, oh, you're who? Churchill, associated to who? And then, of course, I understand. Now, when I first saw the video of his dad, you know, telling him to apologize. Now, the thing is, apologize for what? For taking a picture? For doing your duty? I'll leave that at that. But then I understood the pressure that the dad was under. The dad is vying for a NOP card to stand as an MP. I'm forgetting that yes, that he wants to represent. Of course, you know how the party is a bit, how do I sugarcoat the party?
Sophisticated.
Yes, something like that. The party is a bit, okay.
It's a family sophisticated.
Yes. They don't want to know that you associate with any other. As long as you associate with a dictator, cancel you, okay? Now, you find that the father, Chairman Nyanzi, he's in this spot, he needs the card, but then the son is, you know, there's this picture. Maybe he was also under pressure to come out and be like, maybe my son was compromised. That's why he told him, if you feel like, because if you feel like it's heavy for you, you can, you know, stand down, focus on your education. Maybe he was also under pressure as the dad. Thank you.
And thank you so much. That was quite an insightful discussion, and you have mentioned and pointed out these other NUP leaders and representatives. They have taken pictures as well with government officials. So I want to understand, where does the problem come in? I thought we are fighting the whole government. Are we only fighting one person? So why are they annoyed over a photo with the president? I would leave that.
Yeah, maybe, and because I wanted to interject as Jackie was trying to submit. I want to give context to the foot soldier's perspective, because I think it's being missed. I don't know what ascribes does Churchill probably align himself to, but if like his family is against the Museveni kind of regime and jokes here and there, I think he has a role to play. You should also look at some of these things. We should look at students as a very vital tool in how this country's politics runs, and not isolate them in and of themselves. I feel as a guild president of an institution as Makerere, you have so big a latitude that you can influence some things on a national scale, despite your family, like a family aside, but you as Churchill. If I'm guild president and I look at some of the things Museveni does, and I don't ascribe to them, I don't believe in them, all right? Now, student leaders, people vote you and you are the guild president. You have a role to play in that position. This duty is there, but this duty should be aligned to what you feel the kind of society should be like. If I'm guild president, or if I'm Churchill, and tomorrow I wake up one morning, I'm just saying this presumably, and I say that I will not attend, all my leaders, or the people with whom I lead, are going to boycott that meeting with Museveni. Now, that in and of itself is a big statement to that kind of governance. It is a big statement to what you believe in as leaders, to what you believe your university should be like, and how, to what extent are you willing to go to see that some of these things are done. So maybe, probably, but that of course is subject to what he believes as a person, but if he truly doesn't ascribe to that particular objective, I feel even duty works under, if let's say I'm an MP, and I'm an MP, probably I lead a particular constituency. Of course, people could say that there are people in my constituency who believe that Museveni should, or Museveni's kind of doing things is the best. Let's say I'm an opposition cadre. That in and of itself doesn't mean that I should dine with Museveni simply because I'm an MP and he has invited MPs probably to go to State House for a particular thing. I feel as a leader, I have a duty to push the agenda that I believe in and of itself. So duty works so much with that agenda. If Churchill doesn't ascribe to Museveni's government, if Churchill sits back and looks at the things that go on in this country and is like, no, this should be done differently, what wrong is it in him making a statement as a guild president of over 32,000 students that we don't believe in this, we are boycotting this? I feel that in and of itself speaks to his position as guild president. So I think it would give
interject
Yes,
there, right there. you know, talking about if he could have boycotted the event in terms of, you know, making a statement. The very fact that we have opposition, let me talk about NUP specifically, that has participated in these elections, just from the elections where they believe that there is always, you know, vote rigging, all these election malpractices, but they still participate in this voting process, this electoral process, and they do not boycott.
Which voting, the national or
The
the
national.
university?
We talked about, I'm juxtaposing it with at the national level. He talked about him, you know, his personal convictions. If to make a statement, you could have boycotted the event because it is Museveni, sorry, His Excellency Museveni, and maybe the government is all doing all these evil things and all that. And I'm bringing in an example, or just juxtaposing it with a similar example of if NUP itself does not boycott the elections, the national elections or government, because they actually, even opposition people or people who subscribe to opposition go to government hospitals, they attend government functions, go to all these government initiatives, then why should Churchill be made to boycott an event that where the vista official capacity as a vista of the university is coming? I think it does not really.
I think Churchill can attend the event because the event is not organized by His Excellency.
And it's at the university.
It's organized
you
by the
found
student.
him at the
But
university.
I think Churchill can boycott the photograph. He can say as student leaders, I don't know. I feel the photograph is different from the event.
But it was at the event.
Yeah, but you are invited differently to Ghana.
I think then he shouldn't have attended the whole event, because at that event you're drinking water at that very event. You're taking the pictures. The picture is part of the entire package. That's in my opinion. And then it's also about something in the end. Him representing over 30 how many thousand students. Now, these students, they subscribe to different political parties, and others are apolitical, meaning they're non-partisan, okay? This is leaving out MOOC being non-partisan under the guild statute. But these are students, the 36,000 I'm talking about. When you start categorizing them, some subscribe to FDC, some subscribe to NRM, some don't know what is happening, some really don't care, some are noob, okay? So your joint decision as a guild president should be able to represent all these students in their respective capacities, whatever they subscribe to. Not only to, of course, maybe for you subscribe to noob, meaning if you make your decision that you you're taking all these steps as a noob with noob convictions within you. What about these students who are not noob? What about students who are non-partisan? What about students who are just students? Like me, I don't care what you do, I'm a student. I follow politics, I follow ABCD, but right now, I am only a student. What about those students? I think we should also look at it in the broader perspective. Of course, I want to say that, yes, it still came down to the political parties. And some NRM supporters really took advantage of the picture. They're like, oh, he's ours. Oh, he has agreed. Oh, he has softened. They really took advantage. And of course, there is the noob side, which was pulling ropes. Like, oh, he has betrayed us. Oh, he's a traitor. Oh, he's this and that. Oh, he's a sellout and all that. Of course, there are always those data games that you don't get to realize. As I've said prior, I think he did it from I am a guild president point of view. It is my duty, it is my responsibility. But as I've said, he cannot change the blue blood in his veins. He cannot detach from his family background. He cannot detach from NUP as a political party entirely.
Okay, thank you so much. You point the discussion in quite an interesting view where you tell us there are so many students at these universities. Some of them ascribe to certain political parties, some of them don't. So Owen's view was that this Churchill subscribes to NUP, though he did not come with, he didn't win the primary ticket to be represented, to represent NUP in the election. But he says he is still a NUP member as per his press conference. So him having his agenda, being a NUP member, having the agenda that they have, which is, you know, take away the dictator, we want a better Uganda, new tomorrow, and things like that. Owen's view is that he should come with this same idea because of where he belongs. He's from NUP. So he has been given this platform. This is a huge platform. He can use this platform to the advantage of his party. But then you would come in and disagree with that, saying that he represents everyone. Am I right? Okay. So on the same topic and on the same discussion, I would like to hear what your view is, Brian, on the same. Do you think that he should push the NUP agenda using that platform? Because that is a chance. That is a big chance he has been given.
Maybe to interject. Even on top of him probably subscribing to the NUP kind of ideology, him as a person, when he goes back and looks at some of these things, is he okay with them? Right, as simple as that. And doesn't he have a role, even aside him being a NUP member, as Churchill Ssentamu, a guild president of Makerere, doesn't he have a role to probably change some of those things? All right. So if he does align with some of these things, then I don't know.
Yes, and from what we understand, the moment you subscribe to a certain political party, you agree with their views, you know, you want to push their views forward. So he subscribes to NUP, and he wants to push the NUP agenda. So isn't it a chance to use this platform as a guild president to push that agenda?
I think we are casting a lot of burdens on him.
The guild president.
You know, Christians have this thing, or this song, "Cast Your Burdens." I'm not very sure if it's a praise song or it's a hymn. We are putting a lot on the gentleman. Yes, he's the guild president, but when you say NUP gave him that position, it becomes now very funny, because students voted. So I think students gave him the platform. He's supposed to work for the students to begin with. You see, this was an innovative conference, sort of session. So, someone here said, I'm not very sure if it was or him, who said that he came for the students. He came in a position that is a guild president. That was very key. She said it's Article 22, if I'm to get it right. That was very key for him. Yes, we are not perfect. We all do wrong things. But I think at the back of his mind, he said, you know what? Let me do my duties as guild president. Maybe to him, since maybe the university had shared with him the agenda and there's nothing like guild president speech, I think that was fine with him. I also want to believe that the photo came in a time and moment when he can't run. You would find, maybe, it's just something that I'm thinking about. Maybe you know how you're there, and then the MC goes, at this moment we are going to have a photo session, so the guild president, Your Excellency Churchill Ssentamu, please come with your cabinet and have, at that moment whereby cameras have already turned.
And that's what usually happens.
You know, now you're, at that point, it's very hard to think in that blink of a second at, my family. At that point, you're guild president. Okay, let's go. So I think to him, Bambi, innocently, he's like, you know what, I'm representing students. But then when you come to the political question of, you know, we have a number of students who subscribe to NRM, PLU, NUP, FDC, PPP, ANT, and all that. Again, he's a guild president. He has to represent them. So whether you voted him or not, he's the guild president. So I think we need to respect him at that stage of he's a guild president. The family drama is also there, but it shouldn't play a big aspect. Yes, someone talked about the pressure of the dad eyeing a certain seat. I think the dad has his own pressures. And now this thing comes in a point where he says that dad is in America and all that. So you understand the father's frustration. Oh, mtabani wange, really?
Definitely.
You get, as your father, it's almost like you having a child, and then, you know, some of us were stubborn children. Then your parents have paid full tuition, and then 2 weeks, you know, the school administration is calling like, you first come and take your son back for 2 weeks. You're like, what's this guy? Like, I paid. Like, you know, I'm not working in government. But then she said something about these guys attending events. We have parliament. If you're in opposition, you sit this side. If you're in the ruling party, you sit this side. But then you all discuss. At the end of the day, whether his family believes in NRM or not, they pay taxes to the same government. You're still staying in the same government. You're doing everything under the same government. It's not that there is NUP stroke NRM government. It's the NRM government in power. So I think, yes, where you're getting your even if it say, no, we don't get from Mulago, we get from a private-based hospital, it pays taxes to the NRM government. So we shouldn't put a lot of, it's not that Churchill is the president of Uganda, or maybe at the stage of he's the NUP party president. Let's not victimize this child in hopeless student politics. We are going to kill his confidence, because you see these discussions then cuts across. As she said, the foot soldiers say, that means if he says, I want to contest for maybe chairpersonship of the NUP Youth League, there'll be a lot of questions. Guys will be like, no, but this guy, first of all, he never came on our ticket. He went independent, then blah, 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 blah. Forgetting that even Chairman Nyanza was in NRM before NUP. Forgetting that also the Secretary General Bogoya used to work with General Eli Tumwine before he crossed over to NUP. Forgetting that also the party president has a couple of pictures with the CDF who they continuously conflict with. So let's not make it look like the thing this guy has done, either we should hang him or kill him by firing squad. No, I think he's a gentleman, really.
Okay, so far we know we are not going to kill him by a firing squad. No, we are not doing that. So far, in light of the discussion, we have talked about Churchill's background, how it may influence, how it can influence his decisions as the guild president of Makerere. We've looked at duty versus loyalty. And when we come back after the break, we shall be continuing the same discussion on the same topic.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Okay, so that is right after the break, and we are back with the continuation of the topic that we are having today, the bloodlines of politics, a case study of the Makerere University's guild president, with a viral photo moment with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni that has sparked so many controversies, so many critics coming out, calling him a sellout, calling him a betrayer to his family because of his family's political ties to the opposition party, NUP. So as we had discussed before, we had looked at duty versus loyalty. Should he have gone for this conference that was happening? Should he have made up some excuse knowing that he represents NUP? He is a NUP member, much as he didn't come on a party candidate card, but he does belong to NUP. So continuing with the discussion, I would like to for Brian right away to chip in. And I would like to ask, can student leaders continue performing their roles, their official duties, and put aside their political affiliations? Or you feel like the two are in conflict, and as soon as you become a student leader, you should put aside your party and focus on leadership?
I think guild presidents and necessarily university leaders who want to participate in leadership at the university level should understand, one, their political party falling, and then two, the university standing, or their office standing. And this cuts across. It may not necessarily hurt those that support NRM because you see the party in power is NRM. It will sort of work in their way. But if you're in opposition, say NUP, because NUP now is the real opposition party, you would say, big in numbers, media, their publicity is really good. If NUP, FDC taking that lineage, because some opposition political parties don't necessarily mount, ANT and whatever. But this one's that really mount. You need to know your opposition, your political party standing. What is the vision? Why was this party formulated? What are they looking at? You understand? Then come to you as guild president. What am I mandated to do? So that when you're doing things, you don't cause crossfires in between your office and then political party. Because you see, a political party is as strong as its members. When you have, if we say the guild president at Cavendish University is NRM, but then this is the same guild president that comes out and does things that are contrary, it now gets the general public, questioning, oh, these guys are doing A, B, C, and D, and yet they preach, but even their leader is doing A, B, C, and D. So someone who, she termed them as, is it foot soldiers? When they come out and see like what Churchill has done, they start questioning, where do we actually fall? Yes, because at that point they think they do not really matter, because for them they think they matter at the point of view that tugende tukuba kalulu tukole mobilization. But you, the guys that have studied, you, the guys that are holding these positions, because you can't be a guild president when you're not in university. So that means first you're a student, and then you enrolled, and then also these political parties look for you because there is something you bring on the table. So when you're guild president, you have numbers, you have influence, you have something that you're actually standing for. You get. So when you have things like the guild president summit, what, political parties are trying to gauge their stand. That's what I'm saying. Yes, every political party matters. Yeah. But why I'm saying this is because we get to know Makerere has been predominantly in opposition based, say maybe NUP, FDC, like that. There are statistics to that. You say Cavendish has predominantly been NRM, at least for it has been, you get. You say MUBS has been DP, like that. Now, other political parties then have to make up their goals. So it pushes you to understand, if I am interested, and I made a case scenario at Makerere. I'm not a student of Makerere, but there is the Julius Nyerere Leadership Center. They empower, they skill these guys. You get to know as a leader, there is a certain way you dress, there is a certain way you act, there is a certain way you relate with people. Even in your political party, there is that trust that is built. So you see these guys coming and contesting for maybe NUP Youth League, NRM Youth League. There are faces that you see, and you're like, yeah, this guy is actually worth the shot. Had Churchill had Churchill, in one of the breakout sessions we were discussing, at that opportune moment that Churchill, His Excellency Churchill, had been called to take a photo with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, at that point, had he said, no, the party I subscribe to does not necessarily affiliate with you, I think someone can delegate. You know, that would be a very powerful position, because one, the party would have a lot of trust. Oh, this guy knows what we are standing in for. We say, no, because you see, then he can go to his media hand and say, yes, whereas there was this moment, I do not conform to having a picture with person X, whereas he is the president of the Republic of Uganda. But my political party position entails A, B, C, and D. That's why I delegated someone. That discussion is different because now the party will build trust in you, but even those that look at your family, those that look at you as a person, as you, as maybe Aruho, as Churchill, as there is that trust that is built. So I think at a certain point, yes, depending if you wanted to contest and proceed, because university leadership cuts across to national leadership. Usually, guys go to party structures, they go for National Youth Council, they go for parliament and all other things. But you need to know, what is my political party standing? That is if you affiliate with any political party. She said she's non-partisan. For her, it's different. She comes as a whole package. But if you say that I affiliate with NRM, NUP, ANT, GEMA, PPP, then you need to actually take time, sit, reconsider, and then know that your actions have effects to both ends. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that is very important, because what people are looking at mainly is that this is the this is the son of Fred Nyanzi, this is the nephew of Bobby Wine. They're bringing his family into this politics, into what he's supposed to do. She called them foot soldiers. But yes, playing all these roles. But then it's crucial that you point to he's an individual. He has a mind of his own. Yes, he belongs to NUP. Let him make that decision. Not because he's a nephew of so-and-so, not because he's a son of so-and-so. And I think that is a very important perspective to look at this whole general thing. So coming to panelist Jackie, I would like your idea or your view or your perspective on what you think. Can student leaders maintain their political affiliations as they perform their official duties? Is that possible? Is there a balance?
Thank you. I think it really, really depends. But every political party, as I was telling him, I have not found a political party in Uganda where a person will be like, oh, I am very comfortable affiliating to, because each one of them has those small lacunas, those small dirty spots that are not living. You find that NRM has done very many things. They're like, but how can a sane person associate with this? Then you find NUP and you're like, but these are very intolerant. Then you find FDC, you're like, these are very unserious people. You find PLU, you're like, for sure, no. But you know, like the all those.
Too many streams.
Yes. But then every political party has values. And recently, from the 100 million saga, the money that is being given to MPs, you find that most of the NUP members of parliament are saying, no, we are not taking the money and we are signing against it. We are not taking the money. And you find that that is those are their values. You find that they say that corruption, no, they are castigating Honorable Mathias Mpuga for taking the 400
the service award.
Yes, for taking the money that he took. And those are their values. You find that NRM has, A, B, C, D, and F values. FDC has its own values. So, as a guild president or as a leader, student leader, you have duties. But then you have a political party that you affiliate to, whatever it is, whichever political party it is. I think that you should incorporate these good values, not the ones that I called black spots, those ones, not those, the good values, the anti-corruption, the loyalty, the, service-based, the duty-based. You should incorporate them in your service. But now the question comes where you're compromised. If you're compromised on the bad values, then I think you should leave the bad values away. While you're serving, if you're compromised on the bad, that, let me say, the non-intolerance. For example, what happened in this particular case, NUP does not tolerate anything to do with that, in quotes, dictator. A picture dictator? No, they do not tolerate at all. So in instances where the values are the black spots in your leadership, then I think you should put them aside and front duty leadership, what you're supposed to do, because you came to this office knowing what you're supposed to do. But if this duty or service is compromising the good values from your political party, I think you should front your values than the duty itself in a particular case. For example, Mayanja Owen was talking about whether he himself he sees the things that, let me say, the government is doing as like, you kidnapped my father. I mean, you tortured him, you did ABCD to him, he's still receiving treatment. What do I think as a person? I think in a particular case, as a person, you should have thought and be like, oh, there is A, B, C, D, and F, but I am anti-torture, I am anti all this and this, and I should front the good values that I believe in than what duty is telling me at this moment. I don't know if that answers your question to a greater extent.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Striking a balance whereby you front the good that is in the political party, the good agenda, the good side of it, and leave behind the lacunas, as we've put them, the bad things, because every political party is not perfect. Yeah. You'd always find, because it's comprising of so many individuals and they think differently, they see things differently. So they may approach the same agenda differently. So it is important to point out what are these good things and how can I put them forward as a student leader and also support the political party that I affiliate with. Thank you so much. That has been an elaborate discussion. So bringing Owen onto the same topic and the same discussion, do you think student leaders can still affiliate with a political party and still carry on official duty? Do you think it is possible?
In fact, it's what I've been quite thinking, and this is an opinion I've always had. To what extent must political affiliations, in this context, political parties, guide what student leaders do? Like I said in the other backdrop, student politics is in and of itself different from mainstream politics. I think we need to draw a line in some of these things. Because, yes, I understand as students we are being probably prepared for this particular mainstream kind of understanding. But when you don't draw that line, there is so much that goes with political parties. There is so much that goes with political parties that you don't need in student kind of spaces. I've shared with colleagues who have told me that previously when Makerere had so much political kind of party engagements in their politics, you could find that a guild presidential race could, like when it's time for you have literally the full party structure being in that particular place. The amounts of money that are going to be in these spaces, the kind of workload, the burdens that you're putting on these students, at some point it's uncalled for. So in and of itself, it's problematic that students have to affiliate themselves with these political parties in the first place, because at the end of the day, they remain students. The more you don't draw the lines and you want to coexist in these two spaces, you tend to lose out on one particular aspect. And you being a student, it's quite detrimental in that regard. And still discussing political parties, like I said, Uganda is not a perfect parameter to discuss how democratic institutions should be.
Very true.
I feel Ugandan political parties are in of themselves so problematic. They say A and then they do B.
100%.
Right. So as a student leader, as Churchill, where do I draw the line on how I move? You realize that if you go to the NRM kind of agenda, they say no to corruption. They say all these beautiful things. But is it what they practice down on ground? You understand? So the political parties in and of themselves are not something fashionable to affiliate or to identify yourself with as a student. And that is why I align with Jackline. As a student, you should have things you believe in as a person. Yes, it's okay to have these political parties as vehicles, probably, because even as you grow, you need to have this kind of associations here and there. The network is important. But it is important to have a kind of personal opinion on how you want these things to be run. All right. You resonate with these student problems. You resonate with these universities. You know the problems they have as people. As a leader, what do you think is the probable cause of some of these things? Use that space to guide discussions in that regard. Don't use that space to guide discussions which NRM want, which NUP want. You understand? How do you use NUP to push your agenda? If NUP, much as it's your party, in no way doesn't resonate with the problems of the students, then let NUP go. Let the students be your priority. So the problem with Ugandan political parties is that always they get problematic, and I will say maybe to answer the question, it's difficult to coexist in these both spaces as a student. Maybe if in the mainstream politics it's okay. As a student, you're always going to find yourself in compromising positions here and there. Because NRM will want you to do A, but as a student you want to do B. As a guild president, I would love to take a picture or probably represent my fellows in these spaces. But then due to that political kind of background I'm having, I can't do it because I will have backlash, we shall have discussions as we're having, simply because of that. So I feel in a fashionable world, students should be in position to guide decisions based on what they want. But it's quite difficult, but the only thing is, if you're in a position where there's a compromise between the political party and the students, resonate with the students who put you in that position. It becomes difficult, and it's not advisable to affiliate yourself more with the political parties, more so in the Ugandan context.
Yes, that is indeed true, because the students have voted you, they have put you in power. So in whatever circumstance, they should come as priority.
Yes.
So having, we would not be having this discussion if we were not having NUP, this affiliated to Churchill and so on. So I would like to direct a question in that regard, that much as Makerere may say it's non-partisan, we still see these political parties being associated to the rallies and to the specific candidates. Do you think that should continue? Do you think we should adopt a system where completely they are non-partisan? Because we've seen universities such as UCU, the moment they get to learn that you are affiliating with a certain political party and you want to come up for leadership, they could possibly terminate your candidature. So do you think they should adopt the UCU way, kind of putting away all these political parties and just let it to be student-based? That is directed to you, Brian.
I think that is a two-way question. Because you see, UCU and Cavendish have the same model. If you affiliate with a political party, you cannot contest. But we'll be knowing that, oh, Mayanja is NRM leaning, but you cannot use that. You cannot, the thing is why you cannot have a flyer or say, I'm in the NRM chapter, I'm in the UCU NRM chapter or Cavendish NRM chapter, because those chapters do not exist. But we can be knowing, oh, Aruho is NRM, maybe stroke PLU. You understand? But on the official guild campaign flyer, even when those things do not amount, because they want you, I think it's, that's why I'm saying it's two-way. It helps students get realize where they are. Can I actually win the race? Can I convince these people without saying political party pushing? That means, one, you have to build a team that you trust. That all takes, it takes patience, it takes trust, it takes team building, it takes effort, it takes discipline to get a core campaign team, because you're not going to start in second semester and then say, oh guys, I want to be guild. No. That means you should have started it way back, how you're doing your things, you have your people that you know. Where you see Aruho, usually Mayanja is nearby. If Aruho is missing at campus, no, call Mayanja, Mayanja knows where Aruho is. You understand? Or maybe call Jackie. If Mayanja is not with Aruho and all of them, their phones off, maybe call Jackie. Understand? There is that trust that people get to know. If Jackie makes a statement, that means usually it is the same thing that Aruho and Mayanja will have, because people know those guys are a team. It develops, it makes people get confidence. But then on the other end, I think we could also have political parties participating in. The reason is some students feel safer when they have political parties backing them up. It's not something I really push for. I think us being non-partisan, at least contesting at that point of Aruho, Mayanja, Jackie, it's fine, not NRM, PLU, NUP, because then it's a competition of political parties. So even if it means bringing in billions of shillings, they will do. But then are you getting us a competent best leader? We don't want to mention names, but quite the case. You find people passing through and they can't speak. That is a very big disadvantage to those that have and not voted. Because you see, once you become a guild speaker or a guild president, you are that. Immediately we shall start addressing you, Mr. President. So, but if you get out and then you speak in a way that is not, man, you are shaming us. You are shaming not only us, the students, but also the institution at that stage. Because you see, when you're guild president or guild speaker, wherever you go, you are branding the university, you are marketing the university. That's why if you realize there are certain NGOs that we know in Uganda and spaces where certain people are not invited. Yes, you may be the president of Makerere, you may be the president of Cavendish, but if you guys, it's just that there are names you'll never see being invited. It's because they have tried, they have tested, they have seen, this one is lacking. But remember, they won on a political party, and it's usually in a certain university that I don't want to name. But and it's not even here on this panel. But these things are a reality. You find that political parties are fighting for the position, not the person. So I think we need to leave, to a certain extent, leave students contest, and they try out, and I think really try out. I have a problem with parties coming in, because if NRM decides Katutekeme Sente to Chiwango, they will put in the money, and they will win. If NUP says we are bringing, let's deploy our foot soldiers, they will and NUP has one of the best PR systems. Whether you like it or not, I do not affiliate with NUP, but it has one of the best PR systems. That one, if you go to Chambogo and Makerere before the sad incidents of the gentleman that died, I think NUP had the best, at least in picture assembling and everything. They have a very good, that one. If FDC says, guys, if DP says, and you know why DP was very hard to beat at MOBS? It's because the Honorable Minister now, Norbert Mao, would come on ground. Do you know what it means to see a party chairman there asking you for votes? Inside you, you'd be like, but this guy is down to earth. What fair? Why would you fail? Because obviously, and NRM came being beaten over time. And that's why people were saying that Amanya Moses is passing through was only by sheer luck, because, what's the other gentleman's name? The gentleman that pulled out of the race. What JB what?
Oh, Juma Wasa
Balunywa. Because Balunywa, when Balunywa came out, it was Amanya supposed to go in. But if it was the normal race, NRM wouldn't have taken it, obviously. When you come to Makerere, it has been opposition. Now you can see it has been NUP. Fati tried, but Fati it was because of the vibe. People just liked him as him. Not because of political party. If guys that said, let's go as Papier, he would be behind. You get, but at that stage, me, I would really request, I don't know how possible, but I would recommend that we go in for the individual-based merit. Yeah. So that if later on we want to contest for MPship and whatever, it is fine for you to affiliate with the political party. But the problem is, again, we go for political parties as students, especially in university-based leadership, amounting on, can this party get me that seat? So if I want to be guild president, whereas I'm DP, I'll switch to NRM, get the ticket, win. Definitely. Later on, things will, we've seen this at Chambogo. I never wanted to mention universities here, but we've seen this at Chambogo. Guys are staunch NRM, they go in for FDC, they win, they become guild president, then they're silent, they're nowhere.
Okay, that is quite a vivid picture that you have painted for us. Having these political parties, you've mentioned Norbert Mao would come and be on ground to support someone that was affiliated to his political party. So having all of these political occurrences happening, it feels like it's a lot of pressure coming from these, who have DPP, NUP, NRM. It is a lot of pressure asserted onto the student body to vote. At some point, they may lose themselves and instead vote a political party, instead of voting someone who can speak and represent them. And okay, and represent them. So on the same opinion, I wanted to hear you say on whether you think political parties should step aside and let this be the candidate's race.
Okay, I will base on Makerere University for context. So under the Guild Statute, clause 6.2, it says that Makerere is non-partisan. And I remember during my tenure as the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, I could not register the NUP chapter and the NRM chapter under associations in the university because of that clause. But I was shocked. Actually, no, before that shock, I was aware that there are these chapters unofficially. I knew that the NUP chapter chairperson, I knew the NRM, I knew like they are unofficial, they are there unofficially, like they're always they're operating, we know them, we associate with them. But officially, I could not register them under my ministry. But I was shocked during this very event when I saw an invitation inviting the NRM chapter from the Vice Chancellor. And I'm like, non-partisan, you're the Vice Chancellor, make it make sense to me. Yeah. And of course, I have already seen that no primaries, no official documents, Makerere chapter, but this was quite, like I thought we do not recognize these people. Yeah. But the honest truth is that they've always been there, they've never stopped being there. It's just that they're operating unofficially in the university. Whether they should be there or not. Now, I have a two-way opinion on this. I really recognize the role played by political parties in grooming students for the bigger national stage. Because usually these students, when they leave students' politics, we already know that, oh, this one is no, this one, of course, is going to come for MP Aruho, like Dangote is coming for MP, I think it's Aruho already. You know, like we already know, and we know Dangote was, you know, Noop when he was guild president. Like we already know, Anup is already, you know, is already planning to give him a card. Like it's obvious, and I've been grooming them.
Subject to discussion.
Okay, yeah, okay. Things happen.
The obviousness.
Okay. Things do happen. But we already know his blood. Like he has been raped.
He's falling.
You know, we already knew where he aligned. And then, like, we know these people, and the parties have already been grooming them. We knew that by the time, you know, ABCD and E left campus, they were the NRM aligning, and they were going to, you know, getting into national politics, but veering, you know, leaning towards the NRM side. And the political parties have always, you know, come in through with financial support, media support, whichever support they could render the candidates. That is the one side of why political parties are important and, you know, in students' politics. However, as my colleague has discussed, political parties in students' politics, they bring in the unnecessary drama,
Confusion and
pressure,
hatred.
confusion. Like, we're already having enough at national politics. Like, well, Uganda as a country is already going through enough at national politics and all the drama of the political parties. So I believe that students, them being students, they should be students. Let us practice how we want the new Uganda to be. Let us, play it at an independent level. If things were grounded, how should it be? If things were neutral, how would the country be? But every time you bring in this red, blue, yellow, you confuse the students, you confuse the leaders. You're already making them align to your agenda as a party. You're not letting us play it neutral. So I believe students, if they are groomed to, with these values, with their own values of, okay, me as me, it is this and this and this and that, and other students are voting me basing on those values, then we are grooming the leaders that we want with these good values without all this political, confusion surrounding them. But of course, we cannot do away with the reality of, their politics, their political parties at the national level. I think and believe that the students should practice leadership at a neutral ground. Now, when they are getting out of the university, that's when they should start aligning themselves with what do I want to be, or which political party do I fully conform to? Do I fully believe in its values? Something like that.
Thank you so much for shining a light on that. It is necessary, from what we have discussed, what we have seen, that these political parties are indeed important, but coming in at this time, at such a crucial time, when the youth are shaping what their future could possibly look like, it could cause confusion, it could cause a lot of things that we cannot even imagine. They should be picked up after they have left university. Maybe this so-and-so as a good leader, okay, fine, we as NUP want him, we as NRM, we want him. That is where it should be, and it should leave the ground for students to be neutral. So as our discussion has been, we'd like to give our concluding remarks. Would like your concluding remarks to the viewers, just in a few, 2 lines or 1 minute.
All right, so I'll make it quick as possible. I might think Uganda has always been a bad parameter to have these discussions. Because in a fashionable world, we would want political parties to guide these discussions. We had the likes of UDA, I think it's UDA. That groomed the students to become better leaders. The Norbert Maos, the Ssentamu Museveni, it's quite a lot of people who have benefited. So, but just that Uganda will have our own kind of setup, so it becomes problematic in that regard. Back to the major topic, I think Churchill, and as student leaders, it's important to draw lines to the things that we believe are very important. And it's important to know that as students, we are very powerful. And the positions we take, we can influence a lot of things. So take out the blanket and stop seeing yourself as a mere student, but see yourself as a person who has power to influence a lot of things out there. If you don't because in and of themselves, you're propelling an agenda that you believe in as a student leader, and you're bettering the Uganda out there. So I think that is enough.
Thank you so much. And what you talk about really drags us back a little bit to when the president and the chief justice had a dine-in and there was a picture about it. That did not sit well with the public. So indeed, if you do not agree with them, you do not affiliate with them, let us see that. Let there be lines that we can see. So Brian, the concluding remarks to our viewers, please.
Thank you. Generally, whether you're a youth leader or whether you're a student leader, one, you need to know the position you are holding, what amounts to it, what your actions are seen as, and to what extent you can be questioned. It's always good to draw a line on where your political party is taking you and where your ideologies personally are taking you. It's always good not to have a bad narrative in future, because luckily for us Ugandans, media never forgets. Once your name gets in the media, yes, you can take on an activity to clean your name in the next 2-3 years, but even after 10 years, it could come back and haunt you. We've seen some of our elders suffer from that cobweb effect and wouldn't want to go on it. So I'd call upon my fellow youth leaders to know when to attend what events and when to politely decline, to know which picture moment to go in for and which one to either delegate or boycott, respectively. So that you do not draw a lot of criticism, because these things go up to family level, and Ugandans are very willing to invest in the time, the money to investigate you up to your family level. We have so much data. We have a lot of TikTok usage and X usage to drag people. We are very good at the negative energy. Yeah.
That is true, because a lot of people calling Churchill a sellout, a betrayer. That is a lot of negative energy. He needs positive energy to perform his role, to go ahead and put his university and his leadership all in one and lead the student body. Thank you so much for that. Jackline, your closing remarks.
My closing remarks to our dear viewers. As student leaders, it is really, really important that we be smart and intelligent about whatever is happening around us. We represent many people, but also the light that will be viewed in whatsoever we'll do, whatever our actions will be, whatever we say, it is really also held in high regard. I would say that student leaders, you should know what your duties are. Whichever office you're going for or to, you should know what your duties are, but then you should also know what your values are. What are your non-negotiables and what are you willing to negotiate for? Because it will bite you. There is life outside students' politics. And this university is going to be for 3 years, 4 years. You're going to be a guild leader for 9 months, and life will move on. What you do in that office, whether in terms of service, whether in terms of what you say, your actions, your behavior, it will always follow you throughout your life. Especially when you're holding such big office as a guild president, as a minister on cabinet, it will always follow to bite you. So we should really be smart and intelligent, not to be used as chess pawns in these games that different people are playing. You may not know, but the games are being played. So be careful not to be just a side piece in this game. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We've had quite an intellectual panel on this discussion, and we have really dived into the topic, which was the bloodlines of politics, a case study of the Makerere Guild president, Churchill, James Churchill Ssentamu's viral photo with His Excellency, what it meant to his family, what it meant to the foot soldiers of Noop, how they are viewing it, and what it means for his leadership. Thank you so much again. I have been your host, Sharon Mukisa. Till next time.